Hi, I'm Chris Blum. I am one of the ministers here at Bhava, and I also am a sound bowl practitioner. You can learn more about my sound bowls at thespiritedsoul.org. And I'm just going to play a little mini sound bath for everybody today. So if you feel called, close your eyes. Just take a couple nice deep breaths in and I'll get started.
Good morning, Heather.
Good morning.
Well, afternoon. It's well into the afternoon for you. You're on the other side of the country. Well, hi, babe. Oh, thank you so much for jumping on and creating this sacred space with me today for all of our beautiful people. How are you?
I'm good. This week has been a little crazy, but I'm learning to be present.
Okay, good. You'll do a little teaser there for our message. So that's so good. All right. So welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining the Bhava Sunday broadcast. This is our sacred time to come together and really focus and get intentional about living in partnership with Spirit. We have our beautiful Heather Foster on, who's one of our fabulous Bhava babes. And we're just here to be amazing and make sure you know you're amazing too, right? So for those of us who are not familiar with our organization or me or Heather, the Bhava Spiritual Mission is a digital church, and we are here to help you live in partnership with Spirit. And we do that through showing up and being channels for Divine Spirit, for working on our own intuition and the sort of pathways to Divine Spirit, to God consciousness, and bring through the message as it relates today. So we have a great message today. These messages are evergreen. So what that means is it relates to you when you receive it. So if you're watching the replay, maybe it's been a hot minute since we went live on this platform. That's okay. This message is for you. We are going to. So my name is Ingrid Turner. I'm the founder of the Bhava Spiritual Mission, And Heather, I want to give you a minute. Can you introduce yourself? Tell people a little bit about you if they don't know you yet, don't know who you are.
Sure. Hi, everybody. So I am Heather Foster. I actually originated, my home place is Auburn, California. So I was close to Ingrid when I started my journey.
Oh, she's gone.
I know. When I decided after all my journey of being learning to be present and be a part of Bhava, that I was called to be in South Carolina, and my hubby as well. So, we aborted ship from California, and we're here now. And I would say my journey has just been, I was intuitively called to search for something bigger. And one day me and my hubby and my mother-in-law and my daughter and my aunt, we found Ingrid at a psychic fair in Nevada City. And I was called to her booth. And there was a lot of other psychics there. They didn't align with who I was and what I was looking for, what my calling was. But Ingrid was like a bright light that was there. And I kept going by her booth. And I'm like, oh.
You did.
And I went by
like 4 times.
and I went by it another time. Yeah. And finally I'm like, okay, stop. All of my excitement was definitely drawn to that table that day. And I'm so glad that it was, because that was where I started my journey of being called to first go to some of the workshops that Ingrid holds as part of the nonprofit, and then second, becoming a teacher. So Bhava is amazing, and that was my journey to Ingrid, was just following my calling.
And I love you so much, and I'm so happy you followed your calling and we found each other and wound up together. And yeah, you talked about your journey of sort of being, from student to teacher. And that's one of the main reason why we started the Bhava Spiritual Mission, was to start our school, our seminary, which we call the Bhava Ministry. And that is all about, building community and helping you heal deeply, move through the crap that we all have on top of us, to help find your authentic core, and then take that out into the world and spread the message of divine spirit. And that's what Heather is doing in spades. She did it here, and now she's doing it all the way across the country. So it's been really fun to be on that journey, and it's an incredible experience to witness you and watch you flourish, and then be totally inspired by you. We were just talking backstage about, she moved across the country, and I'm like, oh, I want to do that. And I'm inspired. She just did it. It was amazing. It was such a fun process to watch. So anyway, so that's us. That's us in a nutshell. You can learn more about us on our website. It's bhavamission.org, which is in the description of this video. So it's just a link you can click on. And then feel free to send us an email if you have any further questions. That feels good. Well, let's dive into our message today. Actually, what I want to do is I want to ground us first. So I'm going to take us through a really short grounding meditation, and then I'm going to read the message from Spirit. So the format that we use is, I will get up on Sunday morning without knowing what we're going to do, what we're going to talk about. I'll do my meditation and my prayers, and I'll open up the Spirit, and I will receive the message. And then I give it to Heather, whoever's on with me. I give it to you guys a couple hours ahead of time so that you have the opportunity to sit with it and expand on that message. So the reason we do it this way is, the message is there for everyone to receive. And it was actually it was so wild today. Right when I shared this message with Heather, one of our Bhava babes, Renee, shared a video that was like totally on point with what I was receiving. And it's like, and this is living in partnership with Spirit right here. All of us together just tapped into the same sort of thing. But what's really beautiful about all of us tapping into this energy is, I get it through my lens of perspective. And then Heather receives this message and she expands on it through her lens of perspective. So we're going to talk about this message. We're going to expand on this message. And then we want to invite you into this conversation as well. If you're listening to this broadcast and you're listening to the message, you receive it, and you have an insight, an inspiration, a download, a question, or you want to relate a story about your life, we encourage you to leave a comment on this video so that we can bring you into the conversation. Because the analogy I use every damn week, and I got to get a better one or a different one anyway, so I can mix it up. But I use the analogy of the patchwork quilt. I've got a piece, Heather has a piece, and you have a piece, and we stitch all of these pieces together. And then we have this richer, deeper, more meaningful understanding of the message that Divine Spirit is bringing forth for us. And that is how we grow in community and grow living in partnership with Spirit. So that's the point of this this broadcast. It's not just me or Heather, or me and Heather talking at you. We'll do a little bit of that, but it's about bringing you into the fold and bringing us all together in community.
Yep.
So, did I miss anything, Heather?
No, that was beautifully said.
Well, thank you so much. Okay. All right. Well, then let's get to it. So let's all close our eyes together if you're able to. And I want everybody to take 3 deep breaths, go in through the nose, out through the mouth. Now feel all of your energy pool in your root chakra. And maybe it'll feel warm or tingly. Or you'll just be aware that it's happening. Take a deep breath in and pull the energy from your root into your heart. Exhale and hold the energy in your heart. Inhale and pull the energy from your heart into your crown. Exhale and hold the energy in your crown. Inhale and pull the energy out of your body. Feel it connect with divine source energy. And with the out breath, pull that energy back into your body and into your heart. Breathe in and hold the energy in your heart. Breathe out and pull the energy down to your root. Breathe in and hold the energy in your root. Breathe out and push the energy down your legs and into your feet. Breathe in and hold the energy in your feet. Breathe out and push the energy into the earth. Feel that energy hook in with the earth's core and take a deep breath in and pull it back up towards your feet. Exhale. Inhale and feel the energy hit the soles of your feet and move up your legs and pool again in the root chakra and exhale into your root chakra. I encourage you to keep your eyes closed while you're listening to the message from Spirit. Open up your aura and allow these words, this energy to really sink into your whole being. And don't worry too much about remembering every word, but just feel the message in its totality and trust that you're going to be able to recall what you need to recall when you need to recall it. Here's today's message. To be in total acceptance of what is to align with your God power. Do not waste your time fighting the reality that is in front of you. Be totally present with any reality, and there you activate your intentional creator power. Only in presence do you see clearly all pieces, all outlets, all solutions. Fighting what is blinds you to your own salvation. Only in presence do you give yourself the gift of wisdom. Every experience is meant to serve you and educate you about your God self. When you fight what is, you cannot know your magnificent divinity, and that, and only that, is why you are here. Love exists in every single experience, no matter how bleak. Your task in every moment is to reveal love, and it cannot be done outside of this moment, for this moment is made of love, and no other moment is. When you accept completely, utterly, totally, and relax in divine relief to the now, you will find love and melt back into love. From there, you become love and move through the world only as love. Your breath is that map we gave you to navigate back to love, to this moment, to the full experience of what is. Use it. Slow your breath, deeper, slower. She will guide you home again and again. You're here to be the love envoy for all that is. Navigate back to the ecstatic now and be that love envoy. Let's all take a deep breath. Well, Heather, let me bounce that over to you.
Oh, I love it. I love it. It's funny because right when we were backstage, you're like, my nose gets runny, like, and so it's me, my eyes get teary. So
Really?
yeah, we're channeling, our bodies are like exploding.
Me too. They leak.
Yes. And so this message really hit home. I have been really learning to try and be present. hence the teaser of the beginning of this show. And it's just listening to intuitive guidance all along the way. We don't know what the future is going to be. We don't know, we can't live in the past. We all know this. These are things we've heard. But when you're actually living this human experience, it's really hard to continually stay present. It really is. I mean, there's things that happen. There's family members that die. There's crazy politics that happen. There's moving across the country that happens. Things that we can make decisions on ourselves. There are things we can control, but we're constantly asking ourselves questions and doubting ourselves, or we're in fear, or we're in angst, or something that's making us like question, where we're supposed to be or what we're supposed to do. But I think once we center, and it's really hard to do that, to get the noise out of our head that's drowning us. But once we do, and we find our own unique way to do it, either through meditation or taking a walk out in the woods or sitting in a room that, has some meeting, we can sit and just be one with our thoughts and ask, like, what do I need to do in this moment? In this moment, what do I need to do to help others and to be my best self? And I think one of the things that I had to learn, as Ingrid knows, I'm an OCD Virgo. We always joke about it. I'm an OCD Virgo. And I think 2020 was my biggest wake-up call to let a lot of, we'll say, shit go. Yeah. I had to learn to let it go, because there's some things you can't control. Absolutely cannot control it. You cannot control people. You cannot control the things that are happening on the earth. And I had to learn to sort of come back into presence. So by doing that, I had to let go of all of the fears of my identity as with my job, my identity as a mother, all these things that, we put a lot of, let's just say, a lot of pressure on ourselves. Yeah. I have to be this person. No, the whole thing is the human experience. So what I've been learning, especially this week, is my job is not my identity. That's hard for me to say out loud. And I think Bhava helped me with that. I have like all the leaders that help me get through some things. And it's like, I love what I do. I love graphic design. I love marketing. I love my clients, but that's not my full identity. My full identity is helping people. So when you get in this stress of your life, and what am I supposed to do? You need to think about every single moment that trickles down. So you're going through, maybe you're getting a cup of coffee and you see somebody that needs something, or you feel inspired to say something to them. You do it in that moment, and you can change their whole day, not their whole life. I mean, there are inspirations that can help with that. But I think the biggest thing that I've learned from definitely being present is letting go of all the expectation and just feeling into the trickle effect. We've talked about that in Bhava a lot, is what did I do today that made a big difference? How can I find gratitude in this moment for where I'm at? Maybe I lost my job. Maybe I lost my home. Maybe I lost someone I cared about. But what can I take away from that? Oh, well, we loved that person, so that's why it's so heartbreaking. We loved where we were at, so that's why it's so hard to let go of what it is.
Wow.
But maybe it will bring you to a path that you least expect, and you have to trust your spirit guides and everybody that works in your favor. That means even the people that are around you, the people that you don't see with your physical eyes, let them do their job. We always say it's the give it to God part, right? So that is the letting go part. That is the, okay, I don't know what's going to happen next, but I'm happy that I'm here with my family, or I'm happy that I'm in this moment right now. And then you can let go of all the other stuff that's weighing you down.
Yeah. Give it to God. That's our thing.
Yeah.
I mean, you really touched on some concrete examples of what Spirit was talking about. I love it when Spirit gets really practical. That just tickles my fancy no end. So Spirit said, like, the map we gave you was your breath, and then you expanded on that, and you helped us understand that we all have our unique ways of connecting and getting present, of getting into the moment, and to find it, use it, play with it, experiment with it. When I was downloading this message, oh, by the way, I want to say that as soon as you said that you got teary-eyed with the message, we had 2 people immediately comment, me too. So like we're all going, getting all leaky from all orifices, right?
It pours out your body.
Yeah. I think what I was really feeling when I was receiving this message and applying it to my own life experiences, I was thinking about those times when life is hard. when like you were brought up, when things are happening, we don't want it to happen, like losing a job or losing a house, or, things not going as expected, having an expectation about how something was going to turn out, and then it didn't turn out that way. And so what we do is we get real bristly, and you can actually, I feel it in my body, and I'm sure you can too. And it's like my shoulders get tense, and I start fighting all of the energy around me. And Spirit was kind of using that my own experience of that to say, hey, if you are not in full acceptance of what is right now, you lose your power. And to me, full acceptance doesn't mean acquiescence. It doesn't mean like, okay, I just give up. It just is what it is. I hate that phrase. It is what it is. I cannot stand that phrase. I'm like, nah, it makes me bristle. But to accept fully for this moment, okay, this is the reality that I am in. Whether I believe I created it, or it's a fluke, or it's, like my lesson, what I'm here for, this is the reality I am in. And what Spirit says is, when you take even just getting present for the moment, in the moment, it's not like you have to stay in misery, you just have to get present. And that's when everything opens up. That's when you have full power to change your life. Right there. It's only in that moment of acceptance. If we have any fight in us, we're like, what was it? My favorite line the Spirit brought through that struck me was, fighting what is blinds you to your own salvation. When that came through me and I wrote that, I was like, dang! Stuff right there. And what you talked about is gratitude, getting into gratitude. We talk about radical gratitude in Bhava a lot. And it's that if you can't stop fighting, and sometimes we can't stop fighting. Sometimes we're just like, nope, I'm not okay with this. I am in complete resistance to what is. Getting into gratitude is a way to presence, and radical gratitude is to not only acceptance of what is, but gratitude for what is. If you can get to a place where, and you fake it till you make it, is my experience. Like, oh my God, I lost my house, or like I lost my job. Okay. Can we use, that example? That's something that I lost my job, and I have all the things, all the fears, all the insecurities, all the anxieties coming up around that. If you can go into that and say, thank you for taking that job away from me. Thank you for the loss of that job. That's really hard to do at first. You're like, no, I'm not grateful for that. I can be grateful for maybe other stuff around that, but that thing I'm not grateful for. But getting into radical gratitude, and you fake it. You say it like 4 or 5 times, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, I see it. Oh, I see it. Oh, I see how this is working for me. And then you get into genuine gratitude. You do have to fake it, in my experience. Usually with the first time you say thank you, you don't mean it.
Yeah. And I think one of the things too that you've taught really well is getting into your body of what is that triggering right now? Why is it hurting you? And it's going back to, again, that identity of, oh my gosh, that job was my identity. No, it's just like, even with being a mother, oh, my motherhood is my identity. Yes, that's part of who you are. That's a big role. That's your priority. I love being a mom, but it's not all of it. So if you're then like, oh, well, I feel like a failure as a mother because blah, 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 blah.
Oh my God. Right.
That are unrolling. And you're like, wait a second, get back in your body, figure out, why are you feeling that way? And you're like, because that's my soul identity. No, it's not. That's not your soul identity. That's not your whole purpose. That's part of your purpose. And part of those experiences are to teach you what to one, learn to heal, be an example by just being yourself and sharing part of who you are with other people. So that, like, I'd say being an auntie first was what I did first. I love being an aunt. It was fun, all the fun things. Then being a mother is a little bit harder, right? There's more pressure. You're worried what happens if blah, blah, blah. But there's so much identity wrapped around one thing that you're like, this is not all of it. So for me, like, even with job stuff, I freelance. I'm an independent contractor. So it's like, you have all this pressure and fear of what if? Yeah. But when you let go and you're like, you know what, the stars will align, the right people will come my way. I just need to put a little work into it. Everything will be okay. It is crazy, absolutely crazy what will happen. And I can tell you, manifestation is one of the things we talk about a lot. And when your intention is good and you want to do things for other people, it is crazy how spirit will show off. So one of the things is we sold our house in Auburn for the exact same price of our new house in South Carolina. And I kept getting that number in my head. Spirit kept saying, no, Heather, wait for this person, wait for this thing, wait, you know, so aligning real estate agents and aligning all this stuff. I was being told little snippets all along the way of, no, don't use this person. You need to use this person and you need to do this. And when I was actually present, and thank goodness for Bhava, because there was times along the way where I didn't want to trust myself. And I'm like, oh, you guys, I really need some intuitive guidance and validation for what I'm feeling right now, because it's so scary when you're changing, and this is a big deal. But I kept being told, no, Heather, it's fine. It's going to be fine. Just follow what we're telling you, you know, and listen. So once I did, it was like all the stars aligned to get us here. We kept seeing Nate and I, hubby and I, kept seeing all of this validation. So spirit really does love to show off when you're actually listening, right? And you're like, okay, please give me a sign. I'm really frustrated, right? And all of a sudden you see 111s and 222s, and there's 3 ravens outside my window and all these things. You're like, but you have to look up what that means and how it aligns with you, and then follow it and trust it. And we were able to get here within, let's see, September, we looked at the house, which we've been thinking about moving for a year. September, we looked at the house. On my birthday, the price of the house dropped to a margin that we could afford. And then on our anniversary, we got our keys to our house. So on mine and Nate's 19th anniversary, in 2020, we got the keys to our house. And then right before Christmas, so Christmas Eve, our house in Auburn sold. Everything aligned, like totally spirit was showing off. And we're like, wow, we must be on the right track, you know? So it's good validation. It doesn't mean that's going to happen all the time, but when you're focused and you're actually like asking for help, what I kept getting the ping of this whole thing is, it's okay. It's okay to be scared. It's okay to be in fear. It's okay to be frustrated, but find your inner peace and ask. Just ask. That's what I'm getting is all you just ask. We're here for you.
Yeah. Well, you know, I think it can always be that way, Heather. I think it is always that way when you're in trust, and trust is acceptance of what is. Kind of bringing it back to the core message was you have to get into acceptance and presence. And when you're in acceptance, you can trust because you can see. You can see. So when you tapped in and said, Bhava babes, I'm scared. It's okay to be afraid. And the right people and situations and circumstances are going to show up to reassure you and help bring you back into that place of trust and that place of radical acceptance. And then everything lines up. It's easy. Life can be really easy. It really can. It doesn't mean you won't ever have challenges. It doesn't mean things won't blow up in your face. It doesn't mean things won't always go according to plan, but it can always be easy. And it's up to us to let it be easy by being in acceptance of what is and trusting the process and knowing, having that fierce, fiery faith that everything is working out in your favor. Everything is working out in your favor. When it's hard, let it go. When it's hard, let it go. Let it do the work it's meant to do. And I want to come back around to, you've mentioned identities a couple of times. So I want to talk about ego identities. And an interesting thing happens when you commit to your path with spirit, you're living in partnership with spirit. Our ego identities that keep us in these tight little containers and keep our energy small are just not going to fly anymore. So what happens is spirit comes in and does this amazing favor of dismantling those ego identities for us. But when it happens, our ego goes, like, what are you doing? Big fear comes up and a big crisis can happen in our lives because our ego identity is being dismantled. You talk about the mom identity, and that was something that I really went through. We were just talking backstage about this. I love this. It all just kind of wins together. My identity, my ego identity is not just a mom, a single mom, a solo mom was completely dismantled between 2019 and today. Completely dismantled. And I went through hell with that ego identity being dismantled. Hell, because I could not accept, even though it was the right thing, even though intellectually I was kind of like, yeah, that's an identity I need to let go of. The ego can be very deep-seated. And so when you're in resistance to the dismantling of that, it really hurts. But oh my gosh, so much depth and wisdom and maturity comes from that experience. And now today I have gone from, I'm still a mother. It's still a big part of who I am. And there will never be a day in my life when I am not available to my son. But because I eventually release that ego identity after much fighting, I release that identity, everybody is happier and more free and more aligned with where they're supposed to be. My son is living with his dad. He had no contact with his dad for like 13 years. And then his dad came in, healed in his own right, and to be there for our son when he really needed it more than anything. And so everybody's really happy now. Everybody's happy. But oh my Lord, the journey to canceling that ego identity and all that pain that I experienced and that pain that you have experienced in your own, your own version of these things is not because bad things are happening to us. It is because we are not in full acceptance of the moment as it's happening. That's it. If you get into acceptance, you can feel pain, but the suffering goes away. The difference between pain and suffering is pain is an experience. It just is. It's part of the human experience. You find love inside pain when you are in acceptance of it. The suffering is the mental game we play that continues that pain long after the moment.
Yeah, it's like self-torture where you're like, why am I doing this to myself? You know what? Maybe you just need to sit in it for a minute, because there's times where I'm like, you know what? I need to sit in this for a minute and feel where it's at in my body and ask for it to show me, to go down to the root, go all the way down to the deep root of what is this telling me? Why am I feeling this way? Why am I angry? Why am I scared? Why am I sad? All those, triggered emotions that you get, you're asking, please show me what I'm supposed to see, because I am in the thick of it right now.
Right.
And then, and then, you come back and you're like, oh my gosh, this started. You can even go down all the way deep to this, because it was something I experienced as a little kid, or this is, and it's crazy when you actually find the root problem. I'll call it a problem, because we torture ourselves. No one else is sitting there like, holding,
right. Nobody else is poking you with a stick.
No. And it was funny because anytime that I've experienced that, it's like, sometimes you have people in your corner, like you've got all these people here on earth too that are in your corner, that it's like, Heather, why are you torturing yourself? It's okay. And it's, you get the people that are like, just let it go. And it's like, I can't. I just need to sit in this for a minute. I really just want to be sad and I want to cry. And And I've learned to say that, where I'm like, you know what? It's okay. It is okay to sit in the shower and cry for a minute.
Yeah, we are here for every piece of the human experience. A part of accepting, getting to full acceptance of this moment is fully experiencing this moment, not running away from your feelings. And I love how you keep talking about the body, because that's a huge part of the teachings in the Bhava Mission is you let your body be the container to bring you through and to do the healing for you. Most of us can't get from a story to healed like that. We have to go through the layers. And the first layer is always the body. Where do you feel it in your body? And then let each emotion wave, kind of wash over you. And when you let yourself actually feel a feeling without the story, without the resistance, without the, I got to get the hell out of this, this is not fair, whatever game we're playing up here, it only takes a few minutes to really feel that feeling and then let it go once and for all. That's the big healing work. It's not hard. It's not hard, but it takes commitment and vigilance, because the mind, the ego, wants to take us out of this moment as often as possible, because it doesn't want to experience. It's afraid of it. It's just afraid. Yeah. When you bypass that fear, bring it to your body, that's big work. And I like, what you said. Renee has a good comment here. She said, this is such wisdom. If you can't let it go, try to let it be. Let it be what it is and let yourself have it. Irrespective of the story. We're not talking about the mental garbage, the wait, poor man, and we all do that, and that's okay. Put it on the shelf. Just let it be and let yourself be with it.
Yeah, really, and I had an intuitive download too of don't take it personal. So we've talked about this a lot, right? And this is really hard for me because, if something happens, I constantly want to torture myself on what did I do wrong? Blame. It's an empathic thing. I want to own responsibility. That's okay. Take responsibility for what's yours. But one of the practices that we did this week, which was perfect for me, is as an empath, sometimes you take on stuff that's not yours, and you need to feel of, okay, how much of this is theirs? And it's not a blame game. It's actually feeling energetic cords pulling you down, taking over your body. Maybe you're having some digestion issues from it. Maybe your heart's hurting from it. Maybe your throat is burning from it. And you're like, wait a second, I need to sit in this moment and figure out what's mine. And then when you do, you're like, oh, okay. Some of us were like, okay, this one was 90% mine. When we did an exercise, it's all right, I'm going to claim that. This is me. We laughed for a little bit. But then some of it's like, oh, this is only 10% mine. Let me cut cords, which is a practice we learn in Bhava, of pull all this energy off of me and get back into my own center and find who I am. And then wait a second, I actually feel okay right now, because empathically I've picked up on some sadness of either somebody I'm working with, like a coworker or a client or whoever it is I'm working with. And one of those things, too, is like when you're fine before you step into a room, and then you step into a room full of people, and then all of a sudden you're just sad, just completely like, meh. You didn't protect yourself well enough, and you picked up that energy, and then you're like, oh my gosh, this is not mine. And learning that is really hard. But when you actually are aware of it, you're like, okay, I can let that go. And I'm not going to take it personal anymore, right?
Right. So not taking it personally. And that's a really great exercise, is when you're really in it and you're feeling really heavy and a lot of density and emotions, just quickly ask yourself, wait, what percentage of this is mine? And just give it a percentage. And the percentage should pop up. Some people have a harder time with that. And when they do, I say, okay, imagine a pie chart. What slice of this pie is yours? What slice of it? And then you just, the way I like to think of it is when you release what's not yours, it's like taking off a wet coat. That's better. And then you can really deal with what is yours, get really present and intentional about what is yours, bring it into the body and move through it. But you're not going to be able to move through and process anybody else's stuff. It's just not going to happen. And, empaths, they tend to glom together. So probably if you're watching this, you've got some empathic qualities as well, because we find each other. We're like, oh, safe people.
Yep.
And there's something else really good you brought up too that I was going to speak to, and it's blanked out on me, so I don't know what that is. But this is all really good. I mean, this is really good, really powerful conversation, really powerful tidbits and little practical pieces of advice that I'm always really grateful for these discussions, because we apply Spirit's message to our own life, and that gives us something concrete to like work with and relate to each other with, and relate to other people with, which is really powerful. I mean, to me, Spirit and spirituality always has to be practical. There's got to be something, you've got to bring it down into the world, and it's got to be practical. We got to be able to use it. Like being up here and flowery is great, and we can have a lot of fun up here. But unless we're really grounded and we're bringing it into our lives and we're making use of it and using it to transform ourselves in our lives, what's the point?
Yeah.
Really, what's the point? We're here for the physical human experience. Getting present in the muck is what we're here for, and bringing God into it in the moment.
Yeah. And it's hard because, you get some people that are like, they feel maybe not drawn to a spiritual life because they're like, oh, everybody's too positive and it's just this fruit. No, we are in the thick of it. We have learned, like, there's a lot of us that we're constantly working on ourselves, because all of a sudden we'll be hit with something, either a death or COVID or all the, I mean, of course it's like crazy right now. It's 10 times crazier than before. But then, it's like I've said this before, it's like playing a game. Okay, what is this trying to teach me right now? What am I supposed to learn right now? Because sometimes the negative stuff is not sometimes, almost all the time, is what gets us out of our shell. Instead of just sitting in this like happy, warm jello, like we've liked to call it. It's like, it's like comfy, warm jello. It's like all of a sudden it gets cold or something's on fire. And then you're like, oh, I have to move before I get it.
Right.
Well, there's a reason for that. And so sometimes those people in our lives that we're like, oh, I hate them, like passion, do not like them. They were put there for a reason. And if you think of it that way and you're actually like, okay, what is this teaching me? What are they going through? What is their experience that is making them behave this way? And how can I not take it personally? And then how can I come back into my center and be like, okay, thank you, Spirit. This was a hard one. Thanks for that. I really want to flip you off right now, but
thank you.
Yes, thank you. I learned something from it.
That was it. That was what I wanted to touch on that you said. You said, don't take it personally. Okay. Yes. That is so powerful. Not only don't take other people's stuff personally, don't take your own BS personally. Yes. One of the biggest roadblocks to healing is taking your stuff too seriously, being like, I'm horrible. Oh my God, I can't look at that darkness. I can't even touch it. Honey, we all got the gunk. Every single one of us has got ugly pieces. And, if you don't take it seriously and you just let it be what it is, what happens is that gunk, healing is not necessarily about releasing. Sometimes it is. Sometimes you go in, you heal, you get present, you let it go, and you're like, oh my God, that's something I don't ever need to carry again. But sometimes some stuff, the really important stuff, the darkest of the dark, is meant to be integrated and transformed into light, to be brought out as part of your spiritual tool set. So we should never be afraid. We should never be afraid to go into the darkness. We need to learn to love our darkness and be grateful for our darkness, because not to let it take us over or to wallow in it or any kind of poor me stuff, but to bring it to the light so it doesn't have any power over us, and we have power over it, and we can bring that out and help it to heal other people.
Yeah.
So, Hey, we have a great comment here from Linda. I love this woman. This is a really great message you're giving people. Thank you, darling. You have to feel your emotions to release them. Spirit told me that the whole planet right now is going through a dark night of the soul. I would agree with that. This morning, before getting out of bed, I went through my whole life and forgave all the people who hurt me. I also went through all the hurt I caused other people and forgave myself. Talk about crying. That's powerful, babe.
Yes.
That's really powerful. And that feels like a really powerful note to end our sacred circle on.
Yes.
Space with. Thank you for that, Linda. Heather, thank you so much for coming on and being an incredible part of our community, the incredible human you are, an incredible teacher for Divine Spirit. I'm so grateful for you. And I'm so grateful that you are a part of my human experience and my divine experience. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ingrid.
Couple of announcements. If you want to learn more about our mission, go to our website, bhavamission.org. Talks about like who we are and what we're all about. Feel free to ask us questions too. If you have found this particular broadcast helpful and you're following us around and you're getting a lot out of this, we do accept donations. We are legally structured as a church. Your donation is tax deductible, and every little bit helps. There are hard costs to showing up in living in partnership with Spirit and sharing the message and being a teacher. So any little bit that you're able to contribute helps us expand and spread the message that much further. And if you have found this message helpful and you feel like it might help other people in your purview, in your community, please do share this video. Give our pages, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We appreciate you, and we are so happy you are here, and we love you so much. If you've heard me and Heather talk about our community and you are feeling that call, and the phrase living in partnership with Spirit just lights you all the way up, we do have openings in our community to join us and to learn how to live in partnership with Spirit, to gain assistance and support in doing that deeper healing work and peeling back those layers, showing up fully in your authentic core, and then becoming a teacher for Divine Spirit. However that looks like for you, it looks different for all of us. We have openings in our community, and I'd love to talk to you further. You can go ahead and send me an email, ingrid@bhavamission.org. Did I miss anything, Heather?
I think you covered it really well. I think we learned a lot from this one.
I think we did. This was juicy, and delicious, and I'm so grateful for you. So thank you so much, Heather. Thank you, everybody, for jumping on. We appreciate you, and we will be here next week, same time, same place, new faces. We try and rotate and get juicy new energy into our discussions. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, sweet Heather. I appreciate you. I love you.
I love you too. Bye, everybody.
Bye, all.